سيدة المقررة، هل يمكن لنا تحويل المكالمة إلى الأستاذ غسان؟
نعم دكتور، نحول الكلمة للدكتور غسان.
السلام عليكم جميعا. هل الشاشة واضحة؟
واضحة أستاذ غسان.
بارك الله فيكم. اسمي غسان مرديني، أخوكم غسان مرديني من جامعة قطر كلية الإدارة والاقتصاد. وأنا في البداية أود أشكر القائمين على هذا المؤتمر القيم، ومن التقديمات اللي في البداية هي بصراحة تعطي مؤشر رائع أن هذا المؤتمر إن شاء الله سينتهي بتوصيات إن شاء الله ستكون مفيدة للجميع. الآن أنا اسمحوا لي إنه أكمل باللغة الإنجليزية لأنه مستفيد أنا في الموضوع باللغة الإنجليزية أكثر، وإن شاء الله ستكون إن شاء الله الأمور واضحة للجميع. Okay, first of all, I would like to consider that the presentation that I will have today is actually considering the accounting in general, as well as the financial inclusion and the stability challenges. We will take the two phases of like the accounting by itself, and then we will consider the financial inclusion next. Now, the idea of the AI is actually invading our world in many occasions and many sectors. And what we can say, like nowadays, let's say the ChatGPT, some chatbots that actually provide and enhance our world in many perspectives. Now, the idea is that from the AI is actually based as the first presenter, our colleague Dr. Nasser, who talked about actually the algorithms of the AI, الخوارزميات اللي خاصة في AI, and this is actually the main core of the AI in general. Now, the idea is that the AI from the, let's say, the business world can help to, let's say, prepare the financial reports and the managerial reports, internally or externally, from the accounting perspective. It also have some supporting the financial inclusion engine. However, there are too many challenges aside to the AI. So I would like first of all to consider one of my recent papers that I have actually published. Talk about the impact of the AI into the accounting, and then we will move on to the financial inclusion. So let's say that the AI, I believe that all the valuable attendants of this esteemed conference aware of the AI nowadays, and I believe that the AI is actually will have an impact on that. Now, the idea is that from the accounting perspective, that some previous studies actually consider that the AI can deal with the rote tasks in the accounting profession. I mean, like the basic tasks of the accounting in general, and also it will provide, let's say, unfortunately, will replace some human capacities, since that the AI algorithms may have a wider knowledge. However, we'll take this into consideration, like this is the bad news that maybe it will replace some.
تفضل دكتور غسان، واصل تفضل.
Sorry. Pardon. So actually, the bad news that it will replace some human capacities in some matters, and this is the bad news for the accountants in general. But actually, the good news that still the AI requires oversighting. In other words, it requires actually to be followed by human, since that the algorithm of AI has too many gaps based on the literature. And from the one of the recent papers that I have published is considering the systematic review, like let's say the impact of the AI on accounting based on systematic review based on the 5 pillars. And this actually 5 pillars considering the financial accounting, auditing, public accounting, tax accounting, as well as the cost and managerial. Today I will focus, to the financial accounting part, since we are talking about the financial stability and financial inclusion. And I believe that the accounting in general is part of such, let's say, financial matters. And in this study, we have actually systematically revised as much as, let's say, papers available huge pillar. And we noticed that, like, for example, there are 19 papers until 2021 about AI and financial accounting, and these actually have some, let's say, positive findings in terms of the AI capabilities. And let's talk about the some, let's say, when I read it for the first time, I thought it's a joke, or I thought that the authors actually make a joke about this matter. But unfortunately, for example, some studies, they found that the tutoring using the AI-based system improved the students' problem-solving skills by 27%, rather than what we are actually doing for the students. And this is like, when I read it for the first time, I said, okay, so maybe in the future they will replace us with AI methods. But however, once that there is, let's say, a two-way communication, and this is one of the gaps identified in the AI, that two communication ways that has some limitations. The human mind can, let's say, go through further than what the AI expects, and let's say we'll have AI capabilities into the corner, and there the AI will say, for example, I don't know. Now, this is like one of the capabilities in terms of the accounting education in general. Another finding, like, for example, let's say the AI can develop some measurements for the financial voluntary disclosures rather than the mandatory ones. So let's say that with like some few clicks, we can consider for the AI that, let's say, for the listed companies in a specific stock exchange, can like consider and calculate for us how many the financial voluntary disclosures there. And this is actually the positive side of the AI, that it will, let's say, provide to us some summaries about the financial disclosure in general. Another paper that actually they found that the AI requires, let's say, some firms or support some firms to restructure their financial accounting system in order to adopt the AI implementation. Now, in terms of the AI with the financial inclusion, I have like, when I received the invitation from the valuable conference, and actually here I would like to thank Mr. Leifa Abdel Haq, who actually was following with all my inquiries about the conference, let's say, step by step. Like 1 month ago, I have made some readings in terms of the impact of AI in the financial inclusion. Now, the AI in financial inclusions actually can be helpful in terms, especially for the government and the regulator parties, that can help, like, let's say, to have fraud detection, or for example, to provide further and better customer service, and as well as, let's say, for example, making personalized financial service. The idea is that here with the AI, these capabilities are actually, let's say, acceptable. But however, the dark side of AI actually is that it can, let's say, be very easily harassed by cyber attacks. And from this side, actually, what I believe that any country, let's say, or any company would like to adopt the AI in their financial system, before that, there shall be, like from my reading, the conclusion from my reading, that there shall be like a huge base and a solid base, like to, have cybersecurity, for example, as well as have a huge base on knowledge of the algorithms of the AI, because these algorithms, if it is misused, can have, like, let's say, what we call, instead of have some benefits, could have some consequences. And let's say that the financial inclusion and the financial stability from the AI perspective can be helpful, and it have huge capabilities. But as long as but the good side that it cannot, like, be able to cross the line of the human capabilities. Uh, in general, let's say that, for example, I can see that here in Qatar, some, let's say, insurance firms, or let's say some financial firms can like personalize your financial services, or let's say personalize some financial products, for example, a loan, etc., and so on. And the plan for that can be constructed by an AI. And as you can see that from time to time, I have received, for example, some SMSs that please do not call or receive a call. If you receive a call from someone who actually say that he is or she is representing us, representing, for example, a bank or the insurance company, please make sure that do not provide any further information. This is actually one part of the harassments of the AI in terms of such improvements. So let's say that in the previous slides we talk about the, let's say, the bright side of the AI, while when we talk about the stability challenges for the AI, we can, like, let's say, considering, for example, if we have any algorithmic trading schemes built by the AI, for example, let's say a stock exchange. Here we have to be careful when we consider any investment decisions, because these algorithmic trading have a huge phase. This is actually based on the previous literature and some practical, let's say, reports. And actually, this may lead to destabilize the financial markets instead of providing some benefits. Now, we'll take into consideration that the AI have some capabilities to machine learning, and let's say that if it fails, it will learn by itself, that next time it will not go through the same trap again. But we will take also into consideration that the algorithm shall be oversighted by humans. The algorithm made by the, let's say, the AI shall be followed. For example, the ChatGPT, if like you ask it for a matter that beyond 2021, it might tell you that my capabilities until 2021. So the algorithms of the ChatGPT is just have the updates for 2021. And sometimes if you ask it about something on 2022, it will start, instead of feeling impressed and said, I don't know, it will start to make some fake stories and maybe consider some references that actually it is not there. I have tried, for example, something on it, and when I have some citations from it, when I go to the paper and actually consider the paper from its journal, the paper is not related to what I asked for at all. And in this case, you will notice that here the ChatGPT algorithm are not accurate, and it needs the oversight shall be. So one of the recommendations that I will have, maybe I will talk about it clearly, but one of the recommendations that I will say that any firm, any governmental or any other regulator parties, the adaptation and the implementation of the AI cannot be considered within, let's say, 1 year. It needs a huge time frame to be considered before, let's say, take into the consideration the decision to implement the AI. We have to ask ourselves, is our cybersecurity system ready? Is our, let's say, for example, our shareholders or stakeholders are ready for such a change? As well as, do we have enough knowledge if we have any issue, let's say, with AI algorithms, especially with the trading schemes of it, to be considered? This is actually need a huge time frame to be considered. And as we said, that the AI algorithms can be biased. And unfortunately, if we would talk about, let's say, some actually practical reports that the AI algorithms can be biased, for example, for certain people of groups or certain color of people. Or for example, it will, let's say, have more options for the rich people rather than the low-income people. And this case, that here one of the stability challenges to be considered. So here that the AI algorithms shall be verified, shall be protected, not to be vulnerable to cyber attacks. Otherwise, this may lead to huge losses and other disruptions that happen to the firm. So, in order not to take more of your valuable time, the conclusions from the perspective of accounting. From my, let's say, session here, I can say that we have to try to conduct future research in terms of the impact of the AI on the aspects of the accounting. And from my previous paper that I discussed earlier, there are like some lack of knowledge about the impact of the AI with the earnings management and quality, since I believe that most of us are aware that the AI using neutral networks, ما تسمى بالخلايا العصبية المالية. Moreover, let's say we would say what is the implementation of the AI into the international financial reporting standards and how the firms are actually implement such standards. In terms of from the sustainability, and one of my colleagues earlier talked about the sustainability matter. Actually, AI can support through that to monitor the environmental or the carbon emissions through the let's say the AI algorithm in terms of the environmental issues. And as you can see here, what we can say. So my conclusion is that the role and the impact of the AI in the accounting is still vague, and here we can open the window to consider some prior things. While in terms of the financial stability challenges, in order not to repeat myself, I will also notice that the financial inclusion, the impact of the AI in the financial inclusion and stability challenges require our attention for future research. While I do not recommend, like let's say, to consider this by applying an AI algorithm on actual company, we can, like let's say, run simulations or run some tests on a specific AI algorithm, make sure that it's transparent, fair, and make sure that we oversight it. Once we notice that this algorithm has been verified, we can, like let's say, sell it, or we can, let's say, consider it for a government, consider it for a regulator, or recommend, like for instance, a company to consider it in this way. Because the implementation of AI could be costly, because we have to also improve our security system as well as manage its oversighting and its machine learning, especially that the AI machine learning have huge capabilities, but the oversight of such capabilities is actually very essential. So I hope that I didn't take too much of your valuable time, and that's the end of my session. I would like again thank to all of you for listening to my presenters as well as conference organizers. Thank you so much.